It looks like my camera is not picking up. It looks like my camera is not picking up. It looks like my camera is not picking up. And there's a big echo. And there's a big echo. Well, I guess I will have to present without being visible on camera. This is Lama Tantrapa. I want to welcome you to the exploration of dream yoga. I'm one of the teachers who is known for bringing dream yoga to the West. And dream yoga is, I consider it a shortcut to enlightenment. How do we know that it works as a shortcut to enlightenment? Well, there are a lot more dream yoga practitioners who actually experience enlightenment than those who try to achieve enlightenment through other means. And the reason why it works so well as the tool to achieve enlightenment is because it uses a natural process that happens in human consciousness when we sleep and dream. That's right. In dreaming, there is something happening. Our consciousness is literally creating the world of the dream. And how would that help us achieve enlightenment? Well, in dreaming, there is a possibility to become aware of the fact that you're in a dream. In other words, you can become lucid or you awaken to the true nature of what's happening, that you're dreaming. And when you become awake in the dream, you experience a realization that nothing is being done to you. You're actually the creator of your experience, which is quite empowering. It also gives you the ability to feel connected at a deep level with each and every aspect of the dream, all the dream characters, as well as the entire world of the dream, because you are dreaming it all up. You may not be doing it consciously, but that aspect of your consciousness that is the dreamer of your dream, I refer to it as a dream being, manifests the entire experience for you. And the more you identify with the dreamer of your dream, the more you feel one with everything in your dream. In other words, you experience that sense of oneness that is often is associated with spiritual awakening or enlightenment. You also may feel much greater compassion to other dream characters in your dream for exact that reason that you are not separate from them. Again, compassion is one of the attributes of an enlightened consciousness, isn't it? Another aspect of enlightened consciousness is also a sense of joy and empowerment, which is exactly what you experience when you realize that you're dreaming. You literally stop creating the possibility of having a nightmare or an unpleasant dream. Why would you create an unpleasant dream for yourself if you are the one who is dreaming it all up? In other words, that sense of joy or exaltation is something that is often associated with being enlightened. And it's exactly what happens to you when you awaken in the dream, become lucid in your dream. And the more we continue looking for parallels, the more we see that literally there is no difference between awakening in a dream that you may be having at night and becoming enlightened. Well, if it's the same thing, the only difference is that awakening in the dream happens in the dream. Becoming enlightened happens in your daily life. So, how would you translate awakening in the dream into becoming awake in your daily life? Like Buddha Shakyamuni did, for example, 2,500 years ago. That's why we refer to him as Buddha, the awake one. What does it mean, being a Buddha? Well, it means that he awakened. Awakened where? Well, he awakened in the dream that we call daily life. And that is exactly what we associate with enlightenment. Once you become awake in your dreams at night, it's much more likely to translate that experience into daily life. If you've never experienced enlightenment or awakening in your dreams, well, what's likelihood of you being able to translate it into daily life? Well, that's zero. It's no chance. In other words, in order to experience awakening in daily life and become enlightened, having enlightening experiences of awakening in night dreams is really, really helpful. And that's exactly what dream yoga teaches. It teaches you how to become enlightened or spiritually awake, both in your night dreams and also in your daily life. What's fascinating about it is that when you become awake in your dream at night, it doesn't automatically mean that you will be waking up in your daily life. But there are certain practices that can help translate lucid dreaming or awakening in the dream in the middle of the dream at night into the awakening in the middle of this dream that we call daily life. By the way, the reason why I'm talking about awakening in the middle of the dream is because that is what we're looking for. There are several ways to awaken in the dreams. Unfortunately, the most popular one and the easiest one to experience is awakening at the tail end of the dream. In other words, you're dreaming and then you experience self realization, or you realize that you are the dreamer of this dream, but the dream ends. In other words, you don't get to experience lucid dreaming after that. You just simply awakened, and that's the end of it. What happens as a result of awakening like that is basically you experience the moment of awakening, but nothing else happens because you're no longer dreaming. You are not present in this dream. Now, is that beneficial? Well, yes, it can be beneficial, but you can't really take advantage as much as you would probably want to be able to. And one of the things that happens to people who are on a deathbed is perhaps also somewhat similar, awakening to the true nature of their experience of life, realizing that they've been dreaming all along. Unfortunately, being on a deathbed means that they're at the tail end of the dream that they're called life, and so they don't get to experience the enlightened life. It's better than nothing. Maybe in the next dream, it'll become easier for them to awaken closer to the middle of the dream rather than at the tail end of it. But in order to actually experience enlightened life, we want to experience awakening somewhere in the middle of the dream. That's the second type of awakening. It may be very middle, it may be slightly closer to the end, slightly closer to the beginning. That's the details that we don't have control of because we don't know when the dream is actually going to end, just like we don't know when our life is going to end. However, there is the possibility of waking up in a dream and continuing dreaming awake. It sounds like a paradox. How can you be dreaming awake? Well, you awaken in the dream rather than awakening from the dream. Basically, awakening from the dream again, it pulls you out of the dream. And just like we were talking about a person on a deathbed, awakening from the dream called life essentially doesn't allow them to continue living in that particular dream. Now, maybe there is another dream that happens after that, and that's why we talk about potentially reincarnations or multiple lifetimes that we may be living. The idea of living an enlightening experience in this lifetime seems much more appealing to most people. And so that is something that I focus on. I teach how to become awake in this lifetime. And this is something that we realize is possible because we have the ability to awaken in our dreams, which serves as like a sandbox for practicing, training, developing the qualities of consciousness that we're looking for in an enlightened mind. The more we do that, the easier it is for us to experience enlightenment in our daily life. And there are also some preliminary practices that enable us to experience enlightenment in our daily lives with gracefulness and ease. How do we experience enlightenment in daily lives? Well, easy. We realize that our daydreams are not different from our dreams at night. In other words, the experience of being awake in a dream at night is not different from ability to become awake in a daydream. The nature of the dreaming process is the same. The only difference is that you're not asleep when you're daydreaming. Well, that makes it a lot easier to actually become awake to the true nature of the dreaming process because you're not asleep and you can simply tell yourself, I'm dreaming. If that is so easy, then the question is, why doesn't everyone do it? Well, it's simply because the knowledge of this is not very well spread or accessible. And so most people don't even think about how much they could awaken in their daydreams if they just give it a thought. It's literally that easy. You literally need to give yourself a reminder that you're dreaming while you're having a daydream. As a matter of fact, we have daydreams all the time, don't we? Most of us spend a lot of time daydreaming in our daily lives. We may not even think of it as daydreams, but every thought that we have about the past is a form of a daydream. And similarly, every thought about the future, definitely by definition, is a form of a daydream. In other words, you experience daydreaming when you're thinking about the past, as well as when you're thinking about the future. So you basically spend most of the time daydreaming. Well, except for the time when you're thinking about the present. But it takes actually time to think about the present. And when you do that, you're not really in the present anymore because as you're thinking about it, you're actually already thinking about the recent past, which just happened a few seconds or a split second ago. Well, that means that you actually are daydreaming while you're thinking about the present as well. And when you're thinking about the present, you may be thinking about things that may be happening on the other side of the world in the present moment. Well, you don't really know what's going on the other side of the world. Obviously, that's a mental projection, it's a daydream. Even if you're thinking about what's happening right here and now. Maybe you may be thinking, what's going on in my stomach? I feel some gurgling in there. Well, you're definitely daydreaming, projecting whatever you think may be happening there. Or you may be thinking, what is this person thinking about me? Again, you may be thinking about the present moment, but who knows what another person may be thinking about you. So, whatever you think about that person's thinking about you or about anything else is obviously a mental projection. It's a daydream. In other words, it's really hard to find a form of thought that it would not be a daydream. Well, that means that you have lots of opportunities to practice dream yoga in the midst of daily life. You literally can turn any thought into an enlightening experience. As you realize that you're dreaming, you actually may realize, okay, I am creating this thought pattern or thought process. How is it working for me? Well, it's not hard to find out how it's working if you exercise energy awareness. By energy awareness, I mean that everything in dreams is made of energy, the energy of consciousness. What else can it be made of? Well, similarly, everything in our daily lives is also made of energy. Everyone who graduated from high school, at least theoretically, knows about that. It's just not the kind of a way of thinking that most people exercise in their daily lives, thinking of themselves as energy beings and everything around them as fields of energy and all the events happening in their lives as energy processes. But that's the true nature of what's going on. And as we develop energy awareness applied to our daydreams, obviously everything in daydreams is made of energy. Any thoughts, any memories, any mental projections are exactly that. The energetic projections, the energetic currents or fields. And so we learn how to relate to them as such. We literally learn how to sense energy resonance. By energy resonance, I mean checking how well you resonate with something or someone that you're dreaming of. For example, if you're remembering some episode in your life, you may actually feel a certain sense of guilt, or maybe sadness, or maybe anger, or maybe resentment. Well, those are not examples of great resonance, are they? What would be an example of resonance? Something that you actually remember with joy or with gratitude. Well, those would be examples of resonating with the experience. Now, how do we know that we resonate with the experience? Well, we simply develop the ability to feel our own body. If the body tenses up, if a breathing becomes shallow or stressed, well, that's a pretty clear indication that you're not resonating with whatever you're experiencing. However, if your breathing becomes easy and smooth and natural, and you literally feel a sense of flow or joy or exaltation, that's something that happens to indicate that you are in resonance with whatever you're experiencing. Well, so keeping attention or giving attention to your body can help you develop the awareness of your resonance. And the more you resonate with things, the more you live your life in the flow. In addition to that, you also may be discovering the sense of discernment. Discernment is the faculty of consciousness that enables you to make most intelligent choices. In other words, that's the key to wisdom. And how do you develop discernment? Well, you actually develop discernment by learning how to pay attention to how well you resonate with things. Mhm.